Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning. Srimad Bhagavatam Sangha and some attentive japa later on. And happy Kartik month. So everything we do this month is multiplied by 1,000 times. Well, we should take advantage of that for sure. So let's continue. We talk about Citraketu and we're talking about attachments to family. They can be very dangerous. So this is shown here by Maharaj Citraketu that he had lost, all his logic, and he lost his consciousness. He's completely depressed. So we've got Narad Muni and Angira Muni. Now they've come together to pacify him. So Sri Shukadev Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, by his mystic power, the great sage Narad brought the dead son into the vision of all the lamenting relatives and then spoke as follows." So the dead son has now been awakened or brought to life, and let's see what happens from here. Shri Narad Muni said, "O living entity, all good fortune unto you. Just see your father and mother, all your friends and relatives are overwhelmed with the grief because of your passing away." So I think Narad Muni knew what was going to happen anyway. Because you died untimely, the balance of your lifetime still remains. Therefore, you may re-enter your body and enjoy the remainder of your life, surrounded by your friends and relatives. Accept the royal throne and all the opulences given by your father. So in enticing him as well. So why he should re-enter his body? Because there is so much to gain, so much material gain. Let's pray first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpata Mundeshi Gurundim Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Hariyam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamaduriyat Nashta Prashabdreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. Hare Krishna. So by the mystic power of Narad Muni, the living entity re-entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narad Muni's request. So this is what he said. According to the results of my fruity activities, I, the living being, transmigrate from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of the demigods, sometimes to the species of lower animals. And this applies to all of us. So he's speaking on behalf of all of us. Sometimes among the vegetables, and sometimes to the human species. So 8.4 million species, according to our karma, our desires, will get one of these bodies. Therefore, in which birth were these my mother and father? So he's saying that now he's neutral. He's saying, look, I've had so many births and deaths and so many different bodies. So just to remind me, which mother, father is this one? I'm not sure. No one is actually my mother and father. How can I accept these two people as my parents? So because no one is a permanent father, mother, friend, wife, husband, it's just one little chapter, one little life of so many lives. So how can you just label them as mother and father? Maybe you have to label them, with like time, from this period to this period, mother and father, or wife or husband. You can't just say like generally, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my parents. So Srila Prabhupada explains that here it is made clear that the living being enters a material body that is like a machine created by the 5 gross elements of material nature: earth, water, fire, air, and sky. And the 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and ego. This is all material, right? It's all material. The subtle body is material, the gross body is also material. As confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita, there are 2 separate identities called the inferior and superior natures, which both belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to the results of a living entity's fruitive actions, he is forced to enter the material elements in different types of bodies. So we keep hearing this, but does it really sink in? Do we always remember this? Have we realized it that this is what's happening? I am a spirit soul. I'm jumping from one body to another body. This body, that body. This body is not me. This is just another shell that I've jumped into. This time, the living entity was supposed to have been the son of Maharaj Citraketu and Queen Duty, because according to the laws of nature, he had entered a body made by the king and queen. So different species, animals, plants, human beings making different bodies, and then which soul enters that body, we don't have any control over that. Actually, however, he was not their son. The living entity, the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because we are all parts and parcels of God. He made us, so actually we are really his sons. We don't make the spirit souls. The spirit souls are already made. They just enter a body that the parents make. The spirit soul is made by Krishna. We are parts and parcels of the Lord, his little sparks. So, and because he wants to enjoy the material world, the Supreme Lord gives him a chance to enter various bodies. So this little spark, the living entity has no true relationship with the material body. He gets from his material father and mother. He's part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but is allowed to go through different bodies. The body created by the so-called father and mother actually has nothing to do with so-called creators. Therefore, the living entity flatly denied that Maharaj Citraketu and his wife were his father and mother. So, living entity is just traveling. We are all traveling, just jumping into little bodies created by certain people for a short period of time. In this material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity, all people become friends, relatives, and enemies in due course of time. They also act neutrally. They mediate. They despise one another, and they act in many other relationships. Nonetheless, despite these various transactions, no one is permanently related. So, we start thinking like that, then we won't get attached to anyone, because we know our ultimate father is Krishna, the Lord himself. That's who we should be attached to. But it's natural to get attached to our family, to love our family. There's nothing wrong with that. But we should be more attached to Krishna. We should be loving more to Krishna. That's what Krishna says. I've not a problem with you being attached to your family, loving your family. That's natural. But be more attached and loving to me. And then, you'll take care of us. So it is our practical experience in this material world that the same person who is one's friend today becomes one's enemy tomorrow. And we've all witnessed that, we've all experienced that. Our relationships as friends and enemies, family men or outsiders, are actually results of our different dealings. Citraketu Maharaj was lamenting for his son, who was now dead. But he could have considered the situation otherwise. This living entity, he could have thought, was my enemy in my last life, and now having appeared as my son, is prematurely leaving just to give me pain and agony. So that's one way of looking at it. Why should he not consider his dead son his former enemy, and instead of lamenting, be jubilant because of an enemy's death? As stated in Bhagavad-Gita, Prakarthya Kriyamanani Punah Karmani Sarvasha. Actually, everything is happening because of our association with the modes of material nature. We don't have any control. Therefore, one who is my friend today in association with the mode of goodness may be my enemy tomorrow in association with the mode of passion and ignorance. As the modes of material nature work in illusion, we accept others as friends, enemies, sons or fathers, in terms of the reactions of different dealings under different conditions. So just as gold and other commodities are continually transferred from one place to another in due course of purchase and sale, so the living entity, as a result of its fruit activities, wanders throughout the universe, the entire universe, being injected into various bodies in different species of life by one kind of father after another. That's what we're doing, just sending the living entities from one parent to another. It has already been explained that Citraketu's son was his enemy in a past life and had now appeared as his son just to give him more severe pain. Indeed, the untimely death of the son caused severe lamentation for the father. One may put forward the argument, if the king's son was his enemy, how could the king have so much affection for him? It's an interesting question. So how can he be so affectionate to an enemy? So Srila Prabhupada explains the answer is, the example is given that when someone's wealth falls into the hands of his enemy, the money becomes the enemy's friend. Then the enemy can use it for his own purposes. The money, indeed, he can even use it to harm its previous owner. Therefore, the money belongs neither to the one party nor to the other. The money is always money, but in different situations, it can be used as an enemy or a friend. So this enemy is now, because they have become part of you, I suppose that's the reason for the affection. Now they have become a friend, a relative. A few living entities are born in the human species, and others are born as animals. Although both are living entities, the relationships are impermanent. An animal may remain in the custody of a human being for some time, and then the same animal may be transferred to the possession of other human beings. As soon as the animal goes away, the former proprietor no longer has a sense of ownership. As long as the animal is in his possession, he certainly has an affinity for it. But as soon as the animal is sold, the affinity is lost. Suppose that happens with sheep, cows, horses, elephants, maybe, they're sold from one place. Even our houses, like we love our house. Wherever we go, we come back to the house. We're so much in love with it. We feel comfortable in it. And then if we sell the house, we might go and visit it occasionally, but we don't have that same. We just found a new house and we fall in love with that one. So like that. So aside from the fact that the soul transmigrates from one body to another, even in this life, the relationship between living entities are impermanent, as exemplified in this verse. The son of Citraketu was named Harsh Ashoka, or jubilation and lamentation. The living entity is certainly eternal, but because he is covered by a temporary dress, the body, his eternity is not observed. Deno samin yatha dehe kamram yavnam jara. The embodied soul continues. He passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age. We can't recognize the person. The little child is now gone. This old man is now here. So like that. Thus, the bodily dress is impermanent. The living entity, however, is permanent. As an animal is transferred from one owner to another, the living entity who was the son of Citraketu lived as his son for some time. But as soon as he was transferred to another body, the affectionate relationship was broken. As stated in the example given in the previous verse, when one has a commodity in his hands, he considers it his, but as soon as it is transferred, it becomes someone else's commodity. Then one no longer has a relationship with it. He has no affection for it, nor does he lament for it. So it's talking so much about the impermanence of relationships here. So why lament so much? Why be so attached so much? So as explained in Bhagavad-Gita, it is not by any father or mother that the living entity is given his birth. The living entity is a completely separate identity from the so-called father and mother. By the laws of nature, the living entity is forced to enter the semen of a father and be injected in the womb of the mother. So that's all they're doing. The living entity is from one species, from the male species is transferred to the female species, and then it forms the body. So it's not directly owned by anyone. It's not owned, the child is not owned by the mother, it's not owned by the father. It's just a process for transferring. That's all it is, just transferring of one body to another. He's not in control of selecting what kind of father he will accept. The laws of nature force him to go to different fathers and mothers, just like consumer quantity that is purchased and sold. So it's probably a gross example, but yeah, it's just like commodity changing hands. That's all we're doing. Therefore, the so-called relationship of father and son is an arrangement of Prakriti or nature. So the nature is taking care. The nature is doing the transferring. The nature is doing the body, how it develops inside the mother. You know, the mother doesn't have control over that, neither the father has control over that. The doctors don't have control over that. It just develops inside by material nature. So therefore, the so-called relationship of father and son is arrangement of Prakriti or nature. It has no meaning, and therefore it's called illusion. It's called illusion because it's temporary. The same living entity sometimes takes shelter of an animal father and mother, and sometimes a human father and mother, sometimes accepts a father and mother among the birds, and sometimes accepts a demigod father and mother. So we probably all have been there. I'm sure we've seen the 8.4 million lives. We've gone through the cycle at some point or other. So Mahaprabhu says, Brahman Brahmite, Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. So we are travelers, we're traveling in this Brahman. And by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we can get Bhakti, the seat of Bhakti. Otherwise, we just keep traveling and traveling and traveling and with no destination to go to, no permanent destination to go to. Harassed life after life by the laws of nature, the living entity wanders throughout the entire universe, different planets, different species of life, different universes as well. Somehow or other, if he is fortunate enough, he comes in touch with a devotee and reforms his entire life. So how fortunate we are. We're traveling, 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 and suddenly jackpot. We've got it. The seed of bhakti. Somebody was merciful enough to give us the seed of bhakti that we didn't get for so many millions of lives. It's here. But now we probably did get it, but we didn't use it properly. We didn't grow it. That plant, the creeper of bhakti, we didn't grow it. Then the living entity goes back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he said, Janmane janme sab pita mata paye, Krishna guru nahi mile, baj hari aaye. So in the transmigration of the soul through different bodies, everyone in every form of life, be human, animal, tree, or demigod, gets a father and mother. This is not very difficult. The difficulty is to obtain a bona fide spiritual master and Krishna. So everybody can get a mother and father. Animals, plants, insects can all get a mother and father. That's not difficulty. Finding the spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master, and connection with Krishna. That's the difficult part. And that can only be done in this body, the human body, where the consciousness is developed. Therefore, the duty of a human being is to capture the opportunity to come in touch with the Krishna's representative, the bona fide spiritual master. Under the guidance of the spiritual master, the spiritual father, one can return home back to Godhead. So even though one living entity becomes connected with another because of a relationship based on bodies that are perishable, the living entity is eternal. This is the child speaking. Actually, it is a body that is born or lost, not the living entity. One should not accept that the living entity takes birth or dies. The living being actually has no relationship. Excuse me. With so-called fathers and mothers. As long as he appears as the son of a certain father and mother as a result of his past spiritual activities, he has a connection with the body given by that father and mother. Thus, he falsely accepts himself as their son and acts affectionately. After he dies, however, the relationship is finished. Under these circumstances, one should not be falsely involved with the jubilation and lamentation. When the living entity lives within the material body, he falsely thinks that he is the body, although actually he is not. His relationship with his body and his so-called father and mother are false, illusory conceptions. These illusions continue as long as one is not enlightened about the situation of the living entity. So this is the problem we had. So we make these false relationships, and with the body, we make false relationships with our relatives and our surroundings. The living entity is eternal and imperishable because he actually has no beginning and no end. He never takes birth or dies. He's the basic principle of all types of bodies, yet he does not belong to the bodily category. The living being is so sublime that he's equal in quality to the Supreme Lord, but not quantity. We're equaling quality of spirit because we're spiritual. Nonetheless, because he's extremely small, that's the difference. He's prone to be illusion by the external energy. Because we are so small, we can easily get covered by the material energy. But Krishna is unlimited. Material energy cannot cover him. And thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. For this living entity, no one is dear, nor is anyone unfavorable. He makes no distinction between that which is his own and that which belongs to anyone else. He is one without a second. In other words, he is not affected by friends and enemies, well-wishers or mischief mongers. He is only an observer, a witness of the different qualities of men. So, we all connected to Krishna, but all the sparks getting together, like we said before, it's like sticks in a lake. They come together, they go apart, and then different sticks come together, go apart. Or sometimes the grains of sand are compared, that the sand grains come together when the wave comes in, and when the wave goes out, they split, and then wave comes in again, different sand grains will join. So it's so everybody is temporary, friends, enemies, they're all temporary. We should not take them seriously. That, oh, I'm attached to this, or this person is hurting me. It's all temporary arrangement. So, as explained in the previous verse, the living entity has the same qualities as the Supreme Personality Godhead, but he has them in minute quantities because he's a small particle, he's suksham. But the Supreme Lord is all pervading and great. For the Supreme Lord, there are no friends, enemies, or relatives, for he's completely free from all disqualifications of ignorance. And that categorizes the conditioned souls. So it's because of our ignorance, thinking that we are this body, we relate to other bodies. And on the other hand, he's extremely kind and favorable to his devotees, and he's not all satisfied with the persons who are enemies of his devotees. So that's Krishna. So the Supreme Lord, the creator of cause and effect, does not accept the happiness and distress that result from fruitive action. He's completely independent of having to accept a material body, and because he has no material body, he's always neutral. The living entities, being part and parcel of the Lord, possess his qualities in a minute quantity. Therefore, one should not be affected by lamentation. So, Sri Shukdev Goswami continued to Maharaj Parikshit. When the conditioned soul in the form of Maharaj Citraketu's son had spoken in this way, so the son had now been speaking all this time and then left. Citraketu and the other relatives of the dead son were now all astonished. Thus they cut off the shackles of their affection, which was due to the relationship with him, and gave up their lamentation. After relatives had discharged their duties by performing the proper funeral ceremonies and burning the dead child's body, they gave up the affection that leads to illusion, lamentation, fear, and pain. Such affection is undoubtedly difficult to give up, but they gave it up very easily. Yeah. So thank you so much. So they gave it up very easily because that child, he came himself and explained to them that, whoever they are crying for, you just something, it's like explained as like a commodity. It was there and now it's gone to someone else. Simple as that. I remember in our family, my sister, I think she seemed to have died when she was just a child, or it seemed that she has died. And my grandfather, he was lamenting. He said, "Oh, God had given us a toy, and now He's taken it away." See, that they were more enlightened than us. He just took it like that. He had this toy that he's playing with 1 minute, and now that toy is gone. So, yeah, you can look at things like that. Makes life a lot less complicated. Makes things a lot easier to digest, to handle. Because if we are just like completely attached to this, then we forget the real goal, we forget the real meaning of life. So thank you all so much, and love to get your uh, realizations, opinions on this. Anything you'd like to add? We'll start with the Hina Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, happy Kartik to everyone. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. Such a lovely chapter. I think it gives us some really good, what I call hard truths of life. Really, essence of our sastras and the basic lesson that we're not these bodies, and how we just take on multiple bodies, multiple lives, we've had multiple relatives and husbands and wives and children, and that's really what the soul sees. Really, we're just passing through these phases, essentially, through eternity. And yes, very nice points that you made around how emphasizing that the body is temporary. Yet, even despite knowing that, we're so attached to it, and our family members and children, etc. And the fact that it's an illusion. And it isn't. It's an illusion that Maya has weaved in, and it's you could say, yeah, everybody is. A lot of people are fooled by this illusion, and it's just, I'm thinking how fortunate we are, as you said, that we are finally realizing that this is an illusion after, I guess, we've become so materially exhausted, and due to some divine mercy that we reflected on our way, we finally arrived in this human form of life. We've been given the opportunity to come in touch with Guru and Sastra. So the knowledge of Bhakti, the knowledge of Krishna has been revealed to us. And yeah, I was just thinking that really, now that we are where we are, we know what we know, and obviously got to keep. I know for myself personally, I have to keep reminding myself of these key points all the time. That we are just we are not these bodies. We are a spirit soul. We are part of Krishna, and that this body is simply a vehicle to help us to go back. This human body is simply a vehicle to help us go back to Godhead. That is its only purpose, its main purpose. And we just need to keep that focus, really. So that was it, really. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. I will have to drop off shortly, but so apologies, I'm at work. But thank you so much. I do relish these sessions, and I really, really appreciate your kind service. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Yeah, it's a bit scary as well. I mean, so it feels like sometimes you can feel like if you look from the other way, are we really alone in this in this material world that we just need to get on with the others and make the most of the time here from one body to another, because we have to all fly our own plane, as Srila Prabhupada explains that we all have to fly on plane of bhakti, that we can use other vehicles, as you mentioned, to guide us, to help us. But end of the day, it's really down to us. We're all individual sparks, and we have the quality, but we got to get rid of the ignorance from help from others. Thank you so much, Mataji. Purmi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, and happy Kartik. What a beautiful start to the Kartik month. The Citraketu meet Supreme Lord. It just feels like, because last week when we didn't have classes, I was really looking forward to, visit meeting the Supreme Lord and see what happens. And now, obviously, Krishna was waiting for today to start on Kartik. And a very important lesson there. We are not this body. And like you said, all the problems are solved if we realize this and remember that we are spirit, so we are not this body, and all these relations, they're temporary. But like what we have realized, like when somebody lose someone, it's not that they miss that person so much, it is what that person was doing for them. It is all still selfish motives, really, because they're just remembering, oh yeah, he or she was doing this for me and this. So deep down, again, it is just for the selfish reasons. And like we always have to remember, because I listened to one of the gurus many, many years ago, to always remember, I'm not alone. God is with me. So in time of difficulty, and I have used it practically in time of difficulty, and it just gives you so much strength if you just say it 10 times, yes, I'm not alone, Krishna is with me, Krishna is with me. And also you said about the seed of bhakti, we are very, very lucky, we got this human life, and then this human life, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are trying to learn the way of living, or the way of dying, really, basically what we have to do. And again, also importance of the spiritual master. Only spiritual master can save us from this ocean of birth and death and attach us to Krishna. Otherwise, it is very hard in this material world, under the modes of material nature. We are all influenced, because it is easy when we are in the class, we feel all good and happy. But as soon as we have to face the reality of life, we forget everything and get, especially myself, and then you have to remind yourself, yeah, this is temporary, this will pass. So we don't have to be affected by the moment. And yes, I think it is very important lesson, and we just have to remember. But I myself forget, when I'm out of the class. In the class, it's all good. Because yesterday, because there's one Mataji in America, we used to connect before, read Bhagavad-Gita, or like in Kartik month, do the Modrashtakam, read chapter 15. And we connected again last night. I had a very busy day and I was feeling so tired, and my head was like not relaxed at all. But as soon as we read the Modrashtakam, read chapter 15, and I was feeling so much better. So that shows the power of listening to the Lord's glories and Lord's names. So yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I appreciate, your company and association. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned about, yeah, you're right. We are, what that person did for us, so, how they loved us. Of course, the emotions are there. Even Krishna and Arjun had emotions. That's fine. Well, the scripture is saying that you can love and be attached to your relatives. You can be attached, have love for your relatives. That's only natural. But remember who your real relative is, who's your real friend, who's with you life after life. That's the, so we should love him more. We should be attached to him more because he's always with us. That's the whole idea of this lesson, this pastime. It's teaching us that the real relative and friend is Krishna. He's with us life after life. Other people are coming and going. They're not permanent. They're just here for now for a period of years, maybe 80 to 100 years. And then Krishna's been there for us for eternity, and he will be there with us. He never gives up on us. He's there for eternity. He's made this playground for us because we wanted it, but he wants us back home. And he makes arrangements for us for that. So who's our real friend? Is Krishna. Anybody, where animal's body, plant's body, he's there as super soul with us. And it's nice, we forget that we are this body, or these attachments are temporary. We forget. But this is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's where it's the ripened fruit, the sweetest fruit. It explains these things through stories. Because we forget facts, but stories we remember. We remember, oh yeah, I know Citraketu story. What was happening in there? Oh yeah, he was attached to his son. And the son came back and told him, I don't recognize you because I have been traveling so many different bodies. I've had so many parents. Like that, it helps us to remember, these things that, this is how we need to see things from the scriptures point of view, because we will forget, but story helps us to remember. So this is the beauty of Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Radharani, you want to say?
And also remembering that everything belongs to Krishna. And that also solves so many problems, that he is the owner and controller of everything. So it's the problem arises when we think this is mine, But we have to remember, no, it is Krishna's. He has just given it to us temporarily.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mataji. Let's do a couple of rounds. Mataji, you'd like to start, and then Radharani.
Yeah. Mataji, you want to say something?
Sorry, you want to say? Go.
Hare Krishna. Yes, just remember all the time that Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will always protect me. He is our ultimate father and mother. Fathers and mothers we get in the due course of our life, and the people we meet are just here to help us. Some will help us in our Krishna consciousness, and some will actually try to take that Krishna consciousness away from us as well by not being right at the right moment. But we have to, if we remember that Krishna is our ultimate guide, ultimate friend, ultimate relative, he is going to be with us life after life, then we will be able to develop the attachment with him. We can love our family. There's nothing wrong in our family. This is the beautiful lesson from this pastime. We should love our family, because that is only going to help us to take care of them. But the ultimate attachment has to be with Lord, and he is definitely going to protect me no matter what. Whether I'm in the body of an ant, whether I'm in the body of an elephant. So if we can remember only this much, and remember these beautiful stories, even a line or a little lesson or a word from each story, we can go through our day, and there are prayers we can hear, there are classes we can hear too, there are pastimes, and of course the Shastras are always there for us. So we just pray to Krishna that he never takes away this memory of remembering him and thinking of him, loving him, getting more and more attached to him in this lifetime. Happy Kartik again. Hare
Krishna. Okay, Mataji.
And also, like I always say to my Prabhu, because we have to remember what is our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is Krishna. So if anything comes in the way, it doesn't matter. We just have to focus on our goal and how we're going to get there. We shouldn't have worry about anything. So
yeah, focus on the goal. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutle Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine